headaches, bloating, dry mouth, insomnia, constipation, just to name a few of the side effects that I know I have experienced, and a lot of us in this community have shared that we have gone through using weight loss medications. I have a lot of brand new friends here on the channel, and I just want to welcome you and thank you for being here. My past friends, thank you so much for continuing to be so supportive of me and of my weight loss experience here on YouTube. I appreciate all of you so much. Every time that you click on a video, that you give me the like, that you subscribe, and that you leave me a comment, it really helps to tell YouTube that my channel matters and that what I am putting out should be shared with others. So I really do appreciate your time. But today I really want to focus on side effects, because I have had side effects every single dose that I've been on so far. And I am curious if you've experienced the same, if you've experienced different side effects. If you've experienced no side effects, you are the unicorn that we all strive to be. So congratulations to you. I guess you just get the price of feeling really great all the time while on your GLP-1 medication. I am jealous, can you tell? All right, let's get started. When I started using weight loss medications, that was back in February of last year, 2025. And I managed to lose 50 pounds. I have lost more since then. So make sure you come back and tune in for the weigh-in. Let's get started. On 2.5 milligrams, the side effects that I noted was I had bruising at the injection site. For a lot of our friends who are starting GLP medications in 2026, you're just starting, you might be making this mistake. I made it for so many weeks of 2.5 because I had this side effect over and over and over again. And it's a simple one that you can fix right away. When I was putting my injection, I'm not going to say that I necessarily have a fear of needles. I just have a fear of injecting myself. And it was no different when I got the zepbound pen, the injector pens. Although they are very easy to use, I still freak out every time. Hey guys, 44 injections in, I still freak out. It still takes me a few minutes to actually press that button after a quick little prayer and a lot of deep breathing. So when I first started though, let me tell you, I was so nervous. I was pressing that injection like hard into my skin. Whether it was in my stomach, in my arms, or in my thighs, I was bruising at the injection site every time, not because of the pen, but because I was pressing it too hard. So just keep that in mind. If you are experiencing some bruising, you are pressing the pen too hard. Another side effect that I experienced on 2.5, headaches. Oh God, the headaches, they were awful. When I spoke to my provider about this, they said it was likely due to dehydration. I don't know. I am like a furious hydrator. Like I am drinking and gulping water all day long. It's something I've been doing my whole life. It has nothing to do with GLP-1s. I just love water. It's very easy for me to drink water. I drink so much water that my provider told me to stop drinking water. They had me actually measure how much water I'm drinking because I'm drinking too much. Anyways, the good thing about the headaches is that they sort of ceased, they kind of went away a few weeks into the 2.5 milligram dose. Another side effect that I had was bloating. The bloating is uncomfortable, and the only way that I could manage that, my provider said, aside from hydration, she did say I could take Gassiness medication, the over-the-counter pills that help with gas and bloating. So she said if I felt truly uncomfortable, I could drink one of those and sort of help relieve that discomfort. I did experience some diarrhea, which was interesting because I have chronic constipation. I am actually on prescription medication to manage that. I was on that before GLP-1. So don't blame the GLP-1 for my chronic constipation. I had that before I started. So it was interesting to get the diarrhea because if you have chronic constipation, you know that that's not the way you're going when you have to go. And then I did experience just a little bit of sleeplessness, which becomes a true problem a couple doses later. Now on to 5 milligrams. On 5 milligrams, guess what's back? The headaches. I was on 5 milligrams for 12 weeks. If you watch that video I made about my losses on each dose, you will know that 5 milligrams was my worst dose yet. And the headaches were not fun. They were at the beginning, the first couple weeks when I first started, and then they kind of ceased. I did also experience bloating as well, and my provider said the same thing. Just keep using the Gas-X medication if you truly are uncomfortable. I experienced 2 stalls on 5 milligrams, which I guess maybe is not a side effect, but I just had it there as one of my side effects. I had constipation written 5 times. So it's just a continuous problem for me. The way that I am managing my chronic constipation with the advice of my provider is through my prescription medication, through Miralax, a lot of water and hydration, and using a lot of fruits that have a lot of fiber to really help the go. Now, the most notable side effect that I experienced on 5 milligrams was a rash. If you remember 2.5, I got some bruising, but that's not as scary because that goes away. And then once I found out why I was getting the bruising, then, I really did not worry about it. But the rash that I got on 5 milligrams was terrifying, because the rash I got, that particular day I had injected on my left thigh, and I got a rash in the same exact area on both thighs, my left and my right thigh. And this rash lasted for about a week. It literally kind of looked like I had hives on my legs. It was like bumpy and red. And I freaked out because I thought, oh no, I'm going to have an allergic reaction to this medication. Like, I'm going to have to get off. How am I going to function? How am I going to stop thinking about food all day long? How am I going to get to my weight loss goals? So I truly, truly freaked out because I thought this is the end of my, zepbound journey. I did make an appointment with my provider right away. They wanted to see me. They asked me not to take my medication. I had to go see them. They checked it out. And then they sent me to an allergist. And when I went to the allergist, if you've had a different experience, tell me in the comments. But when I went to the allergist said to me, it looks like contact dermatitis. Like, it might have been a little bit of the medication left on your skin. It might have been an irritant that, got on your skin, from another, I don't know, just something else got on your skin that irritated it and caused the rash to happen. But he said, if somebody else is telling you otherwise, come back and share with me. But allergists don't know too much about these medications because, they just haven't had a lot of experience with them. He told me, for my peace of mind, if I wanted for my next 5 milligram dose, or more importantly, he said, when you titrate up to 7.5, if you are worried about truly having, an allergic reaction that could be like life-threatening, you could come into the office. You can do the injection here and we'll watch you for an hour. I never actually did that because after my next pen, I never got anything else. Like weeks and weeks after that, I remember I was on 5 milligrams for 3 months. I never got a rash ever again. I went up to 7.5, no rashes. I have had no rashes ever since. So I truly believe it's what my provider said. There was some other irritant that was on my skin at that point that made contact with my skin, and that's what happened as a result. And I move on to 7.5 milligrams. And my side effects, if you've noticed, my side effects are a little bit like, some of them are the same and they continue on all the way through 10 milligrams, but I'm always getting something new. And 7.5 was no different. I got new stuff. 7.5 started with a lot of dry mouth and cold symptoms. And it happened every time I took the injection. Those first 2 to 3 days, it was like I was so dry. I would wake up and my voice was so hoarse. My husband would ask me, "Are you getting sick?" And it was after every single 7.5 injection, the first 2 to 3 days. I did 7.5 for 3 months, and it wasn't until like my last box that that side effect finally went away. My provider said to me, you can take Zyrtec or Allegra because it sounds to me like allergies. And she said, if you really need to at night, just take a NyQuil to help you. But you just have to let it run its course. And that's what I did. I just hydrated extra. I always had a water bottle next to me so that I could take sips during the night, so that when I woke up, my throat wasn't as dry. I obviously had continuing constipation, surprise, and a lot of bloating. And I also had some episodes of diarrhea, which always surprised me, not because it's not a side effect of GLP-1s, because they are. If you look at the list, constipation, GI issues are like the most common. Constipation, bloating, diarrhea. But it surprises me when I get diarrhea, because remember, I have chronic constipation. Like, diarrhea is not really a thing that I get as somebody with chronic constipation. You know, my stools are very hard to pass. That's what constipation is. So when I get that, in a weird way, it's really relieving, because I'm like, oh, like finally, like the pipes are clear. I feel so much lighter and better. Now, the worst side effect in 7.5 milligrams was insomnia. I also have been clinically diagnosed with insomnia. And on 7.5 milligrams, it got really bad. I went in to see my provider, and mind you, before starting zepbound, I was already on prescription medication to help my insomnia. She didn't want to, on the current medication that I'm on, she could have upped my dose, but I didn't want to get like really groggy in the mornings or feel even more tired. So she said, if you can manage it with the medication that you currently have, then let's keep doing that and see if the insomnia kind of resolves itself. And I want to say it kind of did. She did change my prescription at one point. It didn't really help. What actually ended up helping was that my 7.5 I took over the summer, and I didn't realize that I was also on summer break. I'm a teacher and I was not working. So I realized, you know, maybe I just needed that like work schedule to keep me busy, you know. And once I went back into school in late August, then my insomnia issues kind of resolved themselves. I have been on 10 milligrams for 3 months and 2 weeks, and I have also experienced similar side effects on 10 milligrams. The brand new side effect that I experienced was that I started getting a bubble at my injection sites after I would use the zepbound pen and I would remove it. There was always a little bubble of medicine. My doctor said, don't rub it in. Just wipe it off with an alcohol wipe and move on. I also did continue to experience bloating, and I became more gassy. So my provider said, definitely go ahead and use the continue to use the Gas X over-the-counter medication. I am continuing to struggle with, you know, sleeplessness, but I am managing with the prescription my provider gave me. And then probably the most annoying side effect so far on 10 milligrams, and maybe on all the doses, has been redness and itchiness in the injection site. I have tried the cortisone cream, I've tried Benadryl, I've tried the spray. My doctor said, you're welcome to try anything that's over the counter for it, but my advice is just to ignore it and leave it alone. And one of you friends actually left me a comment in one of the previous videos. I made a video about this redness and itchiness, and you said, you know, one of the things they tried was they literally tried to do the same thing, to just ignore it. And they realized that it just went away. Those are all the side effects that I experienced so far on each dose. If you experience similar side effects, will you tell me in the comments if there was something you used to help manage or deal with those side effects that I didn't use? It's always helpful. I know that a lot of us share tools that help us out. Like for constipation, often you'll hear about Mago 7. If there's something I didn't mention, leave it in the comments for me. And then if there's a side effect that I didn't mention that you experienced, tell me in the comments which dose gave you the most side effects and which dose gave you the least. Also, for my semaglutide or semaglutide, Wegovy, Ozempic friends, tell me in the comments, are your side effects similar? Thanks again for being here. I'm sorry, this is usually a longer video than I make. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe if you haven't already, and come along for the ride. In 2026, I am hoping to lose another 50 pounds and just really feel much better and build muscle and feel really strong. Thanks again for being here. Don't forget, let's keep losing. Bye.